Today I want to talk about the real estate market in the Philippines. I'm a little bit concerned, but I shouldn't say that. I want to see what the situation is because everybody's saying that there's a crash in the condominium market. And understandably so. That is because a lot of these residents were formerly Chinese people who are working for the Pogo companies. And since President Marcos banned Pogos starting January 1st of 2025 this year, they all went back to China. And obviously that will cause a decline in the market value because of the lower demand. So we have so much supply, low demand, market is going to come down. Is it a crash? Not necessarily so, because I don't see some economic indicators that would say the economy is coming down in the Philippines. I don't see that. And developers are continuing to build. They're probably slowing down, and they're probably not lowering the price. They're keeping the price at the same price point. But what they're doing is extending the terms, lowering the interest rate, if you borrow from them. And that will sort of entice some people to invest in condominium without really lowering the price. Because once they lower the price, it also affects the fair market value of the people who are reselling their units. Now, initially, I was planning to resell the unit and invest in something else. But since I heard about this, I said, oh, this may not be a good time to sell, but could be a very good time to buy. I'm going to let it go. Now, in a few days, I will be going to the Philippines for this year, and I will be meeting with my real estate broker, and I will talk to her as to what the situation is. Not only about the real estate market in general, but also the rental market. What is happening to the rental? And that is important for investors, okay? For investors, that is very important. But for people like me who owns a condominium to live in it, it doesn't affect me. Anything can happen in the market. It doesn't affect me. It only affects me when I decide to go ahead and sell. Now, one other news I heard, I think there are about 10 countries. I can't remember which ones they are. I think it's Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, and some other countries are letting go the OFWs. And as you probably realize, a lot of these buyers are OFWs who are earning dollars, taking them back to the country, and they're trying to secure their future by investing in a condominium. Unfortunately, some of these people are really looking at it as an investment because they were talked to by the real estate people about the beauty of real estate investment. Now, don't get me wrong. Real estate investment is really good. In the long run, this is very important. In the long run, it always appreciates. But in the interim, they can go up and down, up and down, up and down. But towards the end, in the long run, they're still much higher than what you paid. So it's a real good investment. I have not seen real estate yet that collapse in the long term. Okay, that collapse. So don't buy real estate thinking that, oh, this thing is going to go up, and not look at your ability to make the payments during the interim period. Because during the interim period, real estate values could come down. And when you decide to sell, you cannot sell because you owe so much money, you don't have enough money to keep on holding on to it. That is not my situation. My situation is I own a condominium because I want to live in it. In fact, I don't want to rent it out. I have never rented it out for many years since we settled in 2018, I think. I bought it in 2016 pre-selling, settled on it in 2018, and it's now 2025. So even with the so-called price decline nowadays, I'm still making good money. But is it a good time to sell? Absolutely not. Is it a good time to buy? Probably, and that's what I want to find out. If I buy another condominium or a single home, even if I buy a single home and rent this one out, obviously the other one I will want to rent. I will also look at the rental market, see what that is like. Now, I understand that The ones that are affected, I can't remember what it is the high end and the low end. But the mid is not necessary. I think that's how it is, but I will find out more. But the situation is every time, the principle of buy low, sell high. Well, if it is not high right now, do not sell. But if it is low right now, that's the time to buy. So it's a matter of strategizing on what you want to do. So no reason to panic. Our situation is not like China. In the situation in China, they have all this building momentum, right? And everybody's buying. And guess what happened to their economy? It collapsed because of their dispute with the United States. Because the economy collapsed, that's a real bad situation. So now they have a lot of vacancies. Now we have a lot of vacancies, but that's temporary. Over time, and of course, I don't know how long that's going to be. I said about 3 years, and some people say, oh no, it'll probably take 5 to 7 years. I hope not, and I don't really think so. The country cannot afford that kind of long-term downturn. President Marcos should do something about it if that happens. 3 years, I think that is reasonable. So between the POGOs and OFWs being dislodged from their work positions in foreign countries could affect the market temporarily. But just imagine the crowd in the Philippines. These people are spending so much time traveling. It makes more sense, especially if rental rate came down, for them to buy a condominium or a single home, whatever they want to prefer. And rather than computing and losing time, wasting time, and time is money, it may be better for them to buy and take advantage of the downturn. Now, once they take advantage of the downturn, then it will get the demand up again. And before you know it, there's going to be price appreciation again. A lot of things to consider. But the main thing is, make sure that you can afford to hold on to the property during the downturn. If, let's say, your property is vacant for a long time, otherwise you will be forced to sell. And when you are forced to sell, you cannot generally get the price that you want. You will sacrifice the price just so you can get out of it. That's, in a simple term, what I would suggest. Now, I have a model where I can take a look at a property, how much cash I'm going to put out. And by the way, because of my age, I'm not able to borrow money, so it's not going to be financed. So I'll have to put up the cash to buy another property, but then I will have to look at the return, and I have to watch that. Suppose the rental market dried up also, and that disappears. I'll make sure that I can afford to hang on to it. But for people who bought a condominium for them to stay in it, for them to retire in it, you should not worry about it. You should not worry about it. You should only worry about it if your situation changes and you will need to sell it, because this is not a good time to sell. You will wind up reducing the price. Not necessarily a loss, depending on when you bought that property. Maybe you bought it at the low end, you're here now, and then there's a decline. Maybe you sell it at this price, so you still have that gap, a profit. So we cannot be too greedy. Sometimes when we need to get out, we will need to sell. But that is the situation in the Philippines. A lot of people are scared, and maybe rightfully so. Maybe a lot of them are investors. Maybe they are investors. I will find out what the situation is. Also, in the condominium unit where I'm in, I want to see what the vacancy rate is. When I first settled on the property, I saw a lot of Chinese people occupying the condominium. A lot. Maybe a little less than 50%. Now, with this change, well, there was a change before Marcos banned it, that they were sort of put in another place. So I guess they went to Pampanga or something like that. So I saw a lot of these Chinese disappeared. I did not see a change in the market value of properties. Now that President Marcos banned it, are there any more left over in the condominium where I am, anyway, where I am? Or is it only affecting the ones like in BGC, if they'll stay in BGC? And I understand that in some situation, their employer, the Chinese people's employer, I don't know if, because they can buy because it's a condominium, maybe bought a lot or a whole floor and then rented it to multiple Chinese employees at an exorbitant rate. That's my understanding. So it's not necessarily the individual Chinese people buying them out. They could be renting from the company they're working with in China who bought a lot of these units. So now with this bought or rented, okay, with this banning of the POGOs, maybe, what are they going to do? They're going to say, okay, guys, come back here and I will terminate the lease. Now we have a lot of vacancy. But this is just my guess. Where I am, I don't think it's affecting it because I'm not in BGC. I'm not in this high rental district location. So I will see, but I'm not too concerned again because I'm not renting it. I don't have to sell it. I don't have to sell it. I would rather leave it vacant as I have in the past because it is my personal space. The reason I bought it is because I will bring some materials with me and I want it to stay in the Philippines so that when I commute back, I don't have too much luggage. I can go back and forth and I am establishing residence in the Philippines. Sort of. Although I'm only spending 3 months to 4 months in the Philippines, I consider it like my second home. Okay? So that is the situation in the Philippines, and I will give you an update as soon as I know more. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you will share this with other people who have especially the same concerns as other people have. Do not just believe what you hear. It really depends on your particular situation. So at this point, no reason to panic. Okay? Again, please share this with other people, and I certainly thank you for staying with me and watching this video. Please subscribe unless you have already done so. Make it a great day, and God bless. God bless.